Okay, my friends, this is the bonus module on ghetto banner creation. I'm also going to be providing you with a few links that will help you, references, software. There is more than one way to accomplish this task, but expect this video to be a bit on the long side because I'm going to be pausing, going through the entire process of creating a banner appropriate for the call to action. Now, we've already, in previous videos, created a link to the page that we're going to promote. This page might change. Doesn't matter that much. If you do change the page that you're targeting, of course, you're going to need to change the link throughout the site, or else forward it as a redirect, something like that. This is the only location that I currently talk about the YouTube videos exclusively, the YouTube function of the YouTube column in the video in the Kraken software, vertical online market analysis software. So currently I'm going to go ahead and target this, and then I'll turn this page into a more precisely targeted topic, add things that I need to. So the point here is that you must have your target destination. Don't forget the U-everywhere model. U everywhere is targeting your bullseye. Your bullseye is going to be what it is that you're selling on your money site. Of course, you can target a individual blog post if you wish. You can target anything you want to. If you want to, you can create a one-page site and target it and not have a silo structure. Just want to clarify that at the end of the day, I'm not here to teach you things covered in certification level 1 or certification level 2. That's really up to you. I don't know what type of business model you've created, and some of you have not taken certification level 1. Level 2, which I recommend, you can visit www.swallowyourmarketwhole.com to have more information about that, because I do want you to be as successful as possible within this. Now, different banners have different functions and different success rates. There is a split test possibility. That's going to be in later advanced modules where we teach how to set up your own ad network. There is a level of complexity that you can go if you wish. We use a banner distribution system that's called Revive Ad Server. It was formerly called, I think, TrafficX or OpenX Ad Server. It was open source. This is a whole nother level of development for you, and I consider it advanced, if not very advanced, because you have to have a server set up. I recommend that you have an entire server dedicated to ad serving. However, we also have domains on servers with other things as well. It doesn't have to be dedicated to just ad serving. Obviously, you would need to have about 100 plus websites before you want to dedicate a server, and they should be cash flow positive. I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of where you could go and how to think big, and something you might want to think about doing as a hobby to get to know where the real money is made online is traffic distribution, where you can sell ad space, and so on and so forth. Ghetto banners, what are they? Now, I'm going to include several ghetto banners. It's an interesting thing to point out that without fail, when we're working with clients on large scale networks, I can create a ghetto banner that will draw more clicks, and they don't look great, but without fail, clients who have paid us a lot of money will always change my ghetto banners and try to make them creative or make them look better. I don't mind that so much as long as they don't remove the primary elements. But generally speaking, the banners that they create that cost them a lot of money convert less on Pinvid sites. They might convert a little bit better on their WR1s, but honestly, not necessarily. It's not the quality of the banner, it's whether it has the neuro markers, the neuromarketing indicators that cause people to draw the click, and whether or not they're congruent with what it is that you're trying to sell. So now that we have the target destination, the next thing that you're going to want to open is the UTM code. For Google, UTM code URL builder comes up number 1 for that, I believe. If not, you can find it under campaigns or URL builder. The Google campaign builder is easy, it's efficient, and it allows you to target in your campaigns, which cover quite well in certification level 2, cover your campaigns in a way that is clear. And it falls under on Google Analytics, you'll be able to see what's getting clicked under campaigns. Let's just quickly log into Google Analytics. I can show you why you want to use the UTM builder. So I've already shown this to students who take Tech Foundation 2, and we get into it much more deeply. When you're in Google Analytics, if you use Google Analytics, you're going to want to go to Campaigns. Campaigns is where Google UTM codes actually track through. And the way you fill out your campaign code, as I showed you in previous videos, is going to determine what you see on this page. Here's a few of the insights that we have for example, this is a banner inside one of our plugins. This is a banner on a 100% PinVid site. Okay, I'm tracking something inside the Warriors form. It's not marked very well, but here's a Keyword Research Inc. under video banner. We have also other sites that have lots and lots of traffic going to them, and they're tracked by one of the largest sites we ever built is Multichannel University. It was a test site, has not been updated. It's a PinVid site. You can see that this tracks the text versus the banner. We also have site-wide traffic as well. Okay, so this gives you an idea of why you want to fill out the banner idea. Okay, the banner for every site. Okay, so there are a few tools that I use. I've shown some of this in the webinar. I use Notate It as a professional whiteboard software. There are a few other types of whiteboards software out there. We're going to go ahead and create a new version of it. Okay, and you can just see that this is notated. Now, if you have the key element here, I just want you to think in terms of what kind of software you need. You need to be able to grab and snag and drag images onto this board just so that you can build stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to creatives, and you find a lot of people fall down on this part. And it took me a long time to figure out that you don't need the best of the best. You don't need to have a $1,000 banner campaign created unless you're going into Google and Google Images, and then things get a little bit different. And even so, you can still have something really nice. Okay, you're going to need Jing. Probably you can see the little Jing ball. The Jing is important because it helps you grab an image. Okay, so you got something going on here, like here's my little brain software. What it allows you to do is grab something, and you click capture and copy. What I like about whiteboard software is it allows you to just simply cut and paste stuff right on the board. And of course, you want to create the red window of attention, which by the way is a huge trick on Facebook right now. Use your red frame. They get more traffic in general on Facebook. Okay, so not that I would ever make a banner out of that, but you get the idea. It just allows you to easily move stuff around, add text. This is good for two things. One, prototyping, because it's fast. Two, ghetto banners. Now, I know that ghetto banners is not a great name, but it's the way that I would describe it is something that doesn't have to go to a professional factory or professional artist before you use it. Okay. One of the core elements that you will find always in ghetto banners is a button or call to action. To give you an idea of what I mean, just look for power buttons and go under images. What you're looking for is something that's culturally used that brings people's already created neuroplasticity. They're all already cut grooves in their brain. People recognize power buttons. You can try different kinds if you like. Well, this power button got popular because of iPhones and a variety of different things. Okay, and so what's nice about this, most of these are open. You're not going to get sued for using them. You do want to be careful about images that you use online. Use at your own risk. We're not speaking to the legal issues when it comes to images or so on and so forth. I prefer red because when people are going, ghetto banners are as loud and gaudy as you want them. Okay, you could take something like this. It's a power button. You could use something like this. The main thing to be aware of is that you're always looking for white on image on white. Okay, and you don't want things to get complicated. You just want to use your whiteboard as if you are creating a banner that's a prototype. You're not even sure if you're going to use it, and then of course you end up using it. Okay, and I don't know what it is, but people just click on these buttons. We've tested it, and you've got something going on. You can just put it right on there. Ghetto means ugly, so you can use it. There's several different things. You can even point. I've even done tests where I point to the arrow and it does better. Okay. You can probably have a sexier arrow than that, but you get the idea. Click here. This is the one place where the click here still works. Okay. You guys can probably do a whole lot better than this. I am not an artist. Sometimes we'll send it to an artist after it's done, and then they ruin it by creating a different color background other than white. Make sure that you have nice contrast happening. Now, what's interesting is before you even get to all of this stuff, you've got to have something decent. You've got to know what the pain or the problem is. Now, we teach this in previous courses, so I'm not going to go over that in this course. You need to know how you're positioned. Okay? So I've got to find out, it's actually a little bit complex because you have to know what it is you're selling, position what it is you're selling before you make the choice. Let me go ahead and find what we're doing here. And if you're unsure what it is that you're selling, you're going to have a hard time going through the deceptively complex process of determining how you're going to position the one-line zinger and the banner and the slogan. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Sometimes you nail it, sometimes you don't. It's one of the reasons that you add rotate, which is why I showed you the Revive server-based software that you can test. There's other services out there like Bannersnack that offer banner rotations, but they do tend to weigh on your server a little bit. They're kind of slow to load. But if you are interested in using a third-party service, you can use Bannersnack. They have some decent things. I came up with some issues with Bannersnack's load time, so that was a little bit of an issue. But they do help you make banners. If you're not in the mood to do it like I'm showing you how to do it, they're less ghetto. They've got a whole bunch of presets and pre-mades. They even have flash animation banners, which is really interesting. The flash animation banners do work quite well, and you can import those right to the top of your site, and you can put them inside the shortcode UI area. And one thing you might want to do is still go through the process of creating a ghetto banner or a prototype banner, whichever you're most comfortable saying, before you go over into Bannersnack and create the banner. The main thing about Bannersnack is for the most part you'll be using their server to host. And I noticed they're a little bit slow for the larger sites. Okay, so let's get right into the creation process. I'm actually going to go through the thinking that I'm going to be in. If I know that I'm selling YouTube video research, and I know I've got a video sales page, number of YouTube videos, I've got to go back to certification level 1. I've got to ask myself, okay, what is the pain? What are we targeting? What is, this is the ISDNA. If you haven't done ISDNA, the exercise in certification level 1 is really, really good. And if you haven't gone through the pain to theme, keyword to theme to pain process, or pain to keyword to theme process, that's pretty powerful because it'll help you determine what it is that you're selling. So I already know quite a bit about what's going on here, and I'm going to be selling the Kraken, just one single feature of Kraken. I happen to know that one of the issues is SEO going away in its traditional form, and I have a good idea of how to create a contrarian banner. So one of the things I want to do to show you how to construct banners is we'll go ahead and go here. Let's just write some ideas down. These are ideas that come from my ISDNA with pre-educated learning. Okay. These are just stuff I'm throwing out at the top of my head. Here's one idea. Is video marketing the new SEO? You can always want a question mark, and if you've seen any of my stuff having to do with dopamine matrix, you know that a question mark attracts more interest because it's incomplete. They want to close that loop. Okay, we also have, let's try something else. Okay, here's another idea. Again, we're just brainstorming using Robert Allen's brainstorming method. What that means is that we don't judge ourselves too harshly. We're just tossing stuff up onto a screen, and you might end up going and showing it to your friends. You might end up talking to me about it in the course. Okay, video keyword research, the new SEO method. All right. That's one possible outcome. Just put this like over here. It's one possible. I'm going to go ahead and write some more down. Not researching YouTube keywords. You are wasting money. Okay, that's a little bit wordy. So there's a lot of elements that come into place. You know, this is why people get confused. You can do too wordy, and the banner just goes right past people's frontal. It doesn't make it to the reticular activator. It stays in their frontal lobes. They got to think too much. So you're really looking for, and then you're going to be matching images with all of this. And you really never want to start with a not. You know, that's too harsh. But at least we have the ideas, so we don't judge ourselves too harshly on these first research processes. Here's another one. I'm trying to be tongue-in-cheek. It's actually probably the better one we have so far. It's short. YouTube keywords, question mark. Remember, like, got milk? Yeah, you forgot them. Here's another one. YouTube keywords, worth millions of dollars. Not really that great, but it's okay. We're brainstorming. Okay, so after looking at the possible selling of the Kraken keyword tool, I'm actually going to change it just to give myself a break. I'm going to come over to the other side of the brain. And I'm going to pretend to sell the course that you're taking right now, which is automatic video traffic. It's a higher ticket item. Or let's try it. Yeah, anybody can do it. Okay, whether that's 100% true or not, it's okay. Automatic video traffic. Okay. Another one that I tested that worked okay. That's not a bad one because it's dealing with a time constraint. Okay, but this is selling a different product. On this side, I was targeting, I am targeting the video keyword research function on a site that's called video keyword research. If I wanted to, I could rotate automatic video traffic in the rotator for this site to draw in more traffic and clients. Okay, so these are okay. I probably would give myself a couple more of these. Here's another one, automatic video traffic, learn the secrets. Okay. Selling a high ticket item on a banner site like this is probably not the best idea unless you have something like, for instance, a plugin to give away. Now I'm going to address that. This is just based on experience. You could say, if you're going to sell a high ticket item like that, automatic video traffic. Automatic video traffic. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some other ones. Let's go ahead and downplay automatic video traffic with a question mark. Free. Okay, this is a little bit of a trickster. I don't like to do these that much. Free automatic video traffic, and then you do parentheses. Okay, it's okay. We have a lot of success giving away banners on these pinvid sites. I'm sorry, giving away plugins on these pinvid sites. So I still have to think about my sales funnel. I don't really like any of these headlines that I've created so far. So I'm going to pause and come up with a one-line zinger for you guys. And then I'm going to go through the decision process that I went through to decide what it is that I'm selling and how I came up with the headline. All right, I'll be right back. Now, one of the things that I discovered in testing our other banners is that the WordPress logo is a very successful image. It does affect click-through. And also the free anything is a very powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these as I still build my idea, because you can always fall back on something that has worked before. Okay, so I would like to do something more like this. Free WordPress plugin included. And that implies training, and it's going to force people to look at the training for the automatic video course. So we're actually going to build sales to the very course that you're taking through this pinvid site. I'm not really sure what I'm going to go with just yet. I'm just creating a prototype. Sometimes I'll put a frame around the prototype just to get an idea what I'm looking at. There's a couple different perspectives. One is you want to put a human face on the site. If you're in the tech field, I noticed that and you're offering something highly downloadable and something that everybody wants, you don't have to put a human face on there, but human faces get the highest clicks on a lot of markets, so you can sometimes do both. I would also like to play around with the idea of a traffic spike, because I know that the pain in this market is particularly traffic, and that's what we're adjusting or selling. So we can have something like this. And again, we are only creating a prototype. The more you play around with this, the better you'll get. And then you can decide if you want to okay. Just messing around. Some of you have asked how I create the puffy or bold fonts in the prototype mode without sending them off to a graphics house, something like that. I've got a playground area installed in a couple of the blogs where I play with these types of things. I think I've shown you how to use this. It's actually part of a plugin called the Marketer plugin. It's not a free plugin, but it's just an install. Okay. And it's nice because if you're really a graphics idiot, you can play around with font. It's the only reason I use it. It doesn't install on the desktop, otherwise I'd just be using it on the desktop. So I just use it in one of the blogs. And it allows you to create all kinds of fonts. So I could, if I wanted to, for instance, automatic video traffic. We could just look at it in this format. Want automatic video traffic. That's a pretty heated direct sale, but it's also in the form of a question. I go up to 8 or 9 on the stroke and the shadow. You can see what it does there. Just go ahead and save it and look at it. Okay, wants. Let's go ahead and go need. Not too terrible. There's other fonts you can use. They're predefined fonts. This happens to be Impact. It's a good one to use. Let's go ahead and go. Let's go a little bit larger. Okay. And all you're doing here is you're just going to pull it onto the whiteboard. You're still in prototype mode. go ahead, feel free to make some mistakes, play around. That's how good creatives get invented. Okay. You can see that this is a little bit too large. Now we're just going to go ahead so we don't forget our call to action. Okay, need automatic video traffic. I may not use this image in the end. Let's move this down a little bit. This is probably not going to fit in the designated banner size for the site-wide banner. But that's one thing that you got to remember is we're going to have to fit it within the constraints of the automatic video traffic. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do. Sometimes I just play with things and put them over here. I've got to really decide how important this little image actually is. Might just have it in there as a distraction image. Okay. The WordPress symbol is not bad. When people see WordPress, you're stacking your meme on top of an already accepted brand. Okay, so now we need to go back to the playground, and we're going to edit. And we're going to try to remember what we were saying. Free WP plugin included, or okay, so that's pretty good. Let's go a lot smaller because it's going to be in the bottom. Same thing. We don't want it to be really blue. Let's go ahead and see what red looks like. And feel free to play around with any of these colors. It's really up to you. You don't really know what something looks like until you put it in. Okay. You could also use a arrow. Let me show you another thing that you can do. Let's just go ahead and leave this here so you don't have to do the... There's another graphic in this plugin which is handwritten. There's a lot of handwritten. If you go to 14 or button 14 or 13, you'll see that there's quite a few handwritten arrows, like for instance this one. Let's throw a couple of other ones on here. Don't be afraid to try stuff you just don't know what it's going to be like. Okay, so you could take something like this, go like that. You could also edit this. This allows it to be a little bit smaller. Okay. Make it a little bit smaller. Let's bring it over to the edge. That gives you kind of a makes it look like there's a handwritten arrow. all kinds of stuff you can do with this software. I'm barely scratching the surface of it, but just want to give you an idea. You can add some handwritten elements and so on and so forth. This may all be the wrong size, which is why you leave it on your little area here. Probably what we're going to want to do here is, instead of putting our little kind of afterthought little image of the traffic spike, which seems to do well when I use them. That's why I throw it in. This might be too much junk on one page, but you don't know until you test it. So you know what I'm doing is kind of stacking them on top of each other. It looks pretty ghetto, but it will probably work actually. And then what we can allow here, what we can put here is a, I guess I got those dashes in there. You want to get rid of those. Here's a little trick you can use in Jing to get rid of. Actually, the best thing probably for that one would be to just recut it. And not a big deal. Part of the reason I'm so close to the dash is that the graphics arrow, the software has a little bit of difficult time controlling the size. Let's go and see if we can, no, that's not quite. There we go. Copy. Let's see if we got a better one. Yeah, that one's a little better. Okay. And now you can go ahead and take your button that we had earlier and decide that you want to keep it, or so I'm sure a lot of you could create a lot more creative of a banner. But this one is going to work for now to give you guys an idea of how bad of a banner you can actually do. Go ahead and put this down. Here, people's eyes and attention go to the clickable. It's ingrained in our brains to click buttons. We almost have, the momentum is already there. Okay, so that's pretty ugly of a banner. Probably could be sweetened a little bit with, you know, we could do something like put this whole side in frames, like so it looks more like that. Just kind of adjust the frame to overlap. But we have quite a bit more to do because this is actually the wrong size for a banner. So I'm going to have to come up with the correct size that I want. I'm actually going to use this under the as the under video banner. Another thing that we could do is right here, if we weren't feeling good, this banner feels a little bit vacant. I feel like I want to put the domain of the main site. I don't do that so often, but this is probably, let's go back to the playground. And you find these graphics windows by going to, I think it's title. Yeah, create a title like that. Okay, pull it out. I'm just going to go www.automatic-video. Let me show you how to pull this site out. .com, and this here. And we're going to go tiny, tiny. Also, I'd probably recommend changing the font to something utterly different. Something like that. Because you really want this to be a real afterthought. Let's do something freaky, like belligerent is the name of this. And we'll go up to like a 19 or 20. automaticvideotraffic.com. Okay, it's probably going to be too big, but it'll look pretty nice under the header. As long as you've got that button on there and some kind of indicator of something free or powerful, and it's congruent with your product service that you're driving them to that you're going to track. And it's not too far in left field from the designated market. You should be fine. You're not going to get it all in the first pop. Feel free to make some mistakes. automaticvideotraffic.com. Now, one thing that's a little bit tricky here that we've got that I don't really like is that automatic video traffic and automatic video traffic are on this twice. Okay, WP plugin included with training. There's a couple of things wrong with that. Let me just pause and think about it here. Yeah, and so what I'm not liking about it is it's not a very high impact because I'm asking a question. It just doesn't work in the context of everything else. It's a context change. Let's try something else. Let's try video traffic on autopilot. That's going to be a little bit better. Another hot word is set and forget is good. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and toss that right in there. So as you guys can see, I've been playing around quite a bit. I'm not really doing anything super fancy. Video traffic on autopilot. WP plugin included with training. And there's a link to the button. The button's a little bit of a different color. It's okay. So this banner is what you would consider totally ghetto. It's really not very good looking, but it will convert for a variety of different reasons. Probably less than some and more than others. Video traffic on autopilot, and also depends on where it's posted. Okay. Video traffic on autopilot. WP plugin included with training. We have the plugin over here. This is a little iffy, but that's okay. Automatic video traffic. Another thing I could do is include the YouTube brand or logo on the rest as something on here, but this is a very busy plugin. It's actually against my better judgment, but we'll go ahead and test it. I'm going to go ahead and leave. I save all of my notateds just in case I need to come back to it. So you have a super hardcore ghetto banner, and it's going to be something that we can insert in the shortcode area, shortcode UI. And the cool thing is that we'll be able to mess around with this. So we've used up a lot of space. In order on notated, all you've got to do is go page and go to page size, and we're going to go height 3000. That gives us a lot of room to just drag everything down to do more and more stuff. I keep all of the elements on there because we're going to need different sizes. I'm also probably going to create one that's more square. Okay, video auto traffic on autopilot. Video traffic on autopilot. Okay, I don't really like this, so I'm going to go back. There's something that's not quite working neurologically with that. Okay, so we're going to change our tactic. That squiggly line doesn't really work. So I'm giving you guys a very realistic view of the creative processes and how they flow and how they may not flow. This needs to be a little bit bigger. So you go here. I'm going to put an exclamation mark to make it more alive. I'm going to find another arrow other than that squiggly line. Graphics, handwritten. Let's just find something a little bit more basic than that squiggly line. Okay, let's go here. We could put a checkbox next to it. Actually, let's go ahead and do a checkbox. People like that. Checkboxes are the most are the highest converting overall, I would say. Might be something we can include. Here's just a plain line. It's a little bit better. Bring it over to the edge. It'll give us the size we want. Okay. Play around with the different designs they have if you want. That's a nice thick arrow. That's pretty good. That'll actually convert probably a little bit better, as long as it's not too gaudy and distracting. Looks like it's made with a magic marker is why. Okay. You could also use something like that. Okay. Let's just play around. At this point, it's just really fun. I don't know if I'll use the checkbox or not. We'll go ahead and see how that looks. I'll pull that out as well. So I'm just taking these elements. This is the beauty of creating prototypes, what we call rapid prototyping, because it's really easy just to copy and paste. And what's also cool is you're only a quick second to publish once you get something you like, because you've got Jing wired to your server. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Pull that over and go ahead and stick that on there instead of the... Let's pull this out of the way here. Yeah. W plugin included with training. I could probably choose a blue button here instead. Okay, you can move your up and down arrows to get the buttons. Yeah, that button's a little dissonant color. The frame's a little dissonant color. I might want to go for a black frame, but red frames have proven themselves on Facebook. So we've got a whole bunch of elements. This is what you call your first Flash prototype, automaticvideotraffic.com. Having that domain there may or may not be useful. It might. We're not going to be able to put it on the site-wide banner anyway, so I'll be able to remove that. I'll be able to pull this out and squish it to fit in the size that Kevin wants in the site-wide banner. So essentially what I've done here is I have all kinds of creatives that are going to help me create all sizes of the banners that I need, and I'll of course have to create a few different prototypes. On the next video, when you come back, I'm actually going to show you how to cookie cutter to the correct size on the first pop using Snagit. And it's a pretty handy little function. People are kind of surprised how that works because they're used to using Photoshop and getting, having to get things perfect and literally taking hours to do this. Like to do it from a professional perspective or a graphics artist perspective, this is taking me 40 minutes, and mostly because I'm sharing it with you. So I might come up with a different color button, but sadly, as gross and ugly as this looks, this will probably convert better. That's okay. WP plugin probably could be WordPress plugin. Probably putting WordPress closer to WordPress plugin would be a little better. For instance, I could take this out and just go like that. Probably a little less cluttery. And sometimes I'll play a little bit with like trying to see if I can do something snazzy in the upper right hand corner. So the main thing is that this is a time for you guys to be at play. You're doing stuff that nobody else is really prototyping stuff very well. They're just going to market. And I know it seems like like people should know how to do this, but they don't. All you're doing is playing around. Okay, I actually like this way better than when I had the traffic item underneath the WordPress. What you're doing is if you've taken certification level 2, you know what meme stacking is all about. And what you've just done is you've just borrowed a fair use symbol, which is WordPress, and you're stacking your meme on top of it. Because I give a WordPress plugin away, I can use that plugin concept. I'm jacking that, and also going to be driving people. There's that kind of subliminal, ugly traffic thing, but I've tested in other tests. I know that people are looking at the hockey stick curve up. They like that. You've got WP included with training, so that I can forward and front end the plugin rather than the course. And when they hit that course page and they see that the course is $3,000, they might opt in, but they also might click through to my other sidebars. And since I know what's on the site that I'm now driving them to, which is different than what I originally thought I was, when I discussed with you guys early on that I was going to send that the other banner was going to go to the Kraken. It's going to sell Kraken because it has a YouTube function now. I might rotate that banner as a separate product, but I thought this would be easier for you guys to understand. Plus, it was more inspiring because it has to do with how to actually sell the course that you yourself are in. And that might be kind of interesting for you to see because you know the product that I'm selling. So it puts it more in the realm of interest. Okay, so that's how this works. And I'm going to go ahead and stop. This has been 45 minutes. You can see all the transformations and ideas and changes and forks in the road that I took. On the next item, we're going to actually do the sizing and getting it onto the site and getting it uploaded to your server. That is also deceptively complex to make easy. But I'm going to be giving you the tips to make this easier than anyone else had ever taught me. In other words, I wish that these things had been given to me early on when I first started figuring all this stuff out. So I'll see you on part 2 on the bonus Ghetto banner creating course.